Chapter 51 Su Xuening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bai Chen looked at the beautiful woman in front of him. She was indeed the mysterious woman he had to talk with in order to complete Mission 12. He tried to calm himself down regarding the flying sword matter. Despite how shocking it was, the sword was not enough to take his attention away from the mission he had received. Furthermore, now he had the amazing life-changing system, which made him less flummoxed by extraordinary stuff like a flying sword. Out of the blue, she said, "Elder." Her voice was just as indescribably beautiful as before. Her demeanor was still calm and collected. No one knew how agitated and restless she was inside. Her heart was beating fast without pause. The person who had made her this way was the 30-year-old man in front of her. She looked at him and thought agitatedly, this man is definitely in the sky-soaring stage. Otherwise, there's no way he could walk in the air without a flying sword. Bai Chen blinked. He could not control his curiosity as to why the mysterious woman had been calling him her elder. What's your name?" he asked. Though he was curious, Bai Chen did not ask anything out loud to alleviate his curiosity. This was because his only duty was to talk to her to get the mission done. The mysterious woman bowed her head and bent down a little. She put her hands together the way martial artists in movies usually did to respectfully greet each other. "Dear Elder, my last name is Su and my first name is Xuening. I'm from the Lunar Land Academy," she told Bai Chen respectfully. The Lunar Land Academy. Bai Chen's lips moved slightly. He did not know what to say. His brows knitted together. He did not have the faintest idea what the Lunar Land Academy was. Furthermore, the words that she used were rather archaic, like those that were used in ancient times or martial arts movies. "Elder might not know our academy because we are quite small. There are only a few of us." Su Xuening looked at Bai Chen. Seeing his knitted brows, she could easily guess that he was running through the Lunar Land Academy in the list of academy names in his memory. "Oh," Bai Chen relaxed his brows. He smiled a little. "I didn't know the name, but I'll remember it from this day onwards." "It's a true honor for us that Elder will remember our academy's name," Su Xuening said with a calm face. But actually, she was quite excited deep down that someone who had trained themselves to reach the sky-soaring stage would remember the name of her Lunar Land Academy. She clearly misunderstood that Bai Chen had trained himself to be at the level of those who could soar in the sky, with the number of people, or cultivators, who had achieved this level in China being so few that it barely exceeded 2 digits. Su Xuening was also a cultivator, one of a few in China. As for what a cultivator was, the answer was only known among the few. A cultivator was someone who was experienced in combat using the power of qi, which came from within a human body. There were 7 stages of training, or realms, in total. The nascent, the foundation, the formation, the earth solid, the sky soaring, the legendary, and the divine. The higher a person climbed the realms of cultivation, the stronger that person became. For example, a nascent realm cultivator had a body many times stronger than a normal person, while a foundation realm cultivator could use a flying sword to journey in the air. The sky-soaring realm allowed its cultivator to walk in the air without a flying sword. Bai Chen only smiled in reply to Su Xuening's words without saying anything else. He could only ponder things in his mind. She's from the Lunar Land Academy. If I had to guess, without a doubt, it must be an academy for cultivators like those in martial arts movies. Other than this, Bai Chen could not conjure up any other idea, which was why his train of thought was heading this way. "Elder, can I ask you something? What are you doing here? Or are you heading somewhere?" Su Xuening asked. "This elder is going home." Bai Chen had nothing to hide from her since right now he was not in the guise of his 18-year-old self but using his 30-year-old body. Even if he and Su Xuening met again in the future, she, for sure, would never be able to connect the dots that these two were the same person. Bai Chen also chose to refer to himself as an elder instead of I to play along with her. The reason for that was that he wanted to go with the flow, even though he still could not quite understand what she was calling him elder for. Having heard what he said, Su Xuening was slightly dumbfounded. She had not expected Bai Chen to be heading home. So, you're going home. What about you? Where are you heading off to? Bai Chen shot back all of a sudden. It was part of the mission he had to complete. He was not trying to flirt with her or anything, although she was really beautiful. I'm learning how to use the flying sword. I have just broken through to the formation realm not long ago, she answered truthfully. Bai Chen went quiet. From what she said, he could deduce that the formation realm she was referring to was a cultivation realm for cultivators, like something he had seen quite often in martial arts movies or novels. I see. Elder, I haven't learned your name yet. Could you tell me your divine name for my own knowledge? Su Xuening asked. She had just realized he had not told her what he went by yet. That was why she asked as part of her greeting. Bai Chen. Bai Chen opened his mouth to reply. But before he finished, he twisted his words halfway through. He suddenly thought that there was no need to tell her his real name. He was not even close to Su Xuening. After the mission ended, it might be possible that he would never run into her ever again. End of Chapter 51. Chapter 52 Conversation. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Elder Chen Bai, I will imprint your name in my memory without fail in return for you telling me your name. Su Xuening said this respectfully to Bai Chen. She found him very down to earth. He was not like other sky-soaring realm cultivators she had met, who were usually arrogant and looked down on those at lower cultivation levels. No big deal. Bai Chen waved his hand a little. In the meantime, he was wondering when the mission accomplishment window would pop up, as he had been conversing with Su Xuening, the mysterious lady, for a while now. If Elder is all right with it, can I have your phone number? Su Xuening said. She would not let this opportunity go to waste. The chance to talk to and get to know a sky-soaring cultivator, who was not arrogant, was rare, so she had to ask for his number. Phone number. Bai Chen frowned a little. He had no mobile phone. His house was just a small Chinese steamed bun shop. How could he afford to buy himself such an expensive thing? Even though his dad had a mobile phone, it was a very old model. Seeing Bai Chen frown, Su Xuening understood instantly that he did not want to give her his phone number. Though her expression remained calm, the woman could not help but feel disappointed. She did not insist on getting the number though. Su Xuening said apologetically, I apologize, Elder. Please pardon my ill manners. Bai Chen did not know what to say. He sighed. He did not know why she was the one apologizing, when it was him who was at fault and needed to apologize. This was because she had asked for his number sincerely, but he had refused to give it to her. You don't need to apologize. It's just that I don't have a phone. That's why I can't give you my phone number, he said at last. His tone was apologetic. You don't have a phone. Su Xuening felt surprised. No, I don't. Bai Chen shook his head. He did not have any need to lie to her, not even a bit. Seeing his head shaking in confirmation, Su Xuening went quiet for a while. She had not expected him to not have a mobile phone, and she did not think he was lying either. His face did not have a hint of a lie on it. Could it be that he has just come out of many years of seclusion? If so, is that why he doesn't have a phone, she wondered in her mind. While she was pondering things, Bai Chen said, how about this? When I buy myself a phone, I'll give you a call. Just leave me your number. The reason that drove him to say that was because she was sincerely asking for his number. He then felt the need to return that sincerity by asking her to leave him her number. As soon as he got himself a mobile phone, he would immediately give her a call. He did not know when that would happen though, because his family did not have so much money that he could buy whatever he wanted. After hearing what Bai Chen said, Su Xuening went quiet for a little while. She then nodded. That would do as well. But, elder, please don't forget to give me a call as soon as you have a phone. Sure. Bai Chen smiled faintly. Getting himself the number of a beautiful woman like Su Xuening quite pleased him. How then could he not smile? This is my number. Su Xuening gave Bai Chen her name card. She merely waved her hand lightly and her name card flew to Bai Chen. Bai Chen felt an instant panic when he saw Su Xuening's action and the name card that was drifting his way. He felt panic for a short while before returning to a normal state of mind. Bai Chen reached out his hand to take the name card. If he had to guess, the thing that made the name card float towards him mid-air must be the power of qi. Su Xuening must be wielding the power of qi, as he had seen many times before in martial arts movies. Bai Chen looked at the name card he had just grabbed. He saw the name, Su Xuening, and her number written on it and nothing else. However, the type of paper she had used to make the name card was quite extraordinary. Ding! Mission complete. Mission 12. Converse with a mysterious girl, success, reward. You have received 20 points and the opportunity to receive special skills or items at random. As Bai Chen was checking out Su Xuening's name card, the mission. Accomplishment window popped up in front of him. The mission's done. Bai Chen felt really happy about this. He stopped paying attention to Su Xuening's name card, put it in the pocket of his trousers, and looked at her before talking. If there's nothing else, then I'll excuse myself. Bai Chen obviously wanted to head home because the mission was done. There was no need to talk to Su Xuening ever again. It was not that he did not enjoy talking to her. He only feared that if he stayed a little while longer, he might end up falling in love with her. Su Xuening was a strikingly beautiful woman, much more attractive than any other woman he had ever met in all of his lives. He had looked at her face directly only a few times during their earlier conversation. I won't hold elder back then. Su Xuening cupped her fists towards him with respect. See you later. Bai Chen nodded at her before turning around and walking away. Looking at his back, Su Xuening could not believe her luck today in getting to converse with Bai Chen, whom she misunderstood to be a sky-soaring cultivator. Even though that conversation had not touched on any important matters. End of Chapter 52. Chapter 53 Shidong's Calamity, 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After having talked to Su Xuening, Bai Chen was on his way home. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, there was an Audi worth more than 3 million yuan parked in front of a famous bar in Xingzhou City. This Audi was bright red. Both the driver's seat and the passenger seat were occupied. The person sitting beside the driver was Shidong. His face was completely red from drinking. He had just left the bar after he was done having fun with the pretty girls inside. The driver was a high-skilled bodyguard sent by the Shi family to protect him. The 35-year-old bodyguard was called Hengong. He was an ex-soldier who had come to serve the Shi family after he was discharged. For the monumental amount of 1 million yuan per month, the man had agreed to come protect Shidong. To the hotel, Shidong, who was in the passenger seat, said after taking a puff from his expensive cigarette. Yes, young master. Hengong nodded before taking off. He steered the car towards the hotel according to Shidong's order. Shidong exhaled a cloud of smoke through his mouth. He still felt a slight headache from the alcohol he'd consumed previously. Hengong, do you think I should get more drugs from Mahjong? I think 100,000 pills are too few. I don't think that's a good idea. Even though the French mafia ordered a big lot from us, that was only 100,000. We should wait for them to order more first, Hengong said. The man was not only capable of fighting, but he was also very smart. That was why he had been chosen by the Shi family to take care of Shidong's safety. Shi Dong thought for a little while. He wanted to make more money from the drug business. But after hearing what Heng Gong had said, he thought it made a lot of sense. All right, eventually, Shi Dong nodded in agreement, then stopped thinking about ordering more pills from Ma Jiang. There's a police checkpoint up ahead. Shi Dong raised his eyebrows when he saw a checkpoint on the road he was about to pass. He remembered there had not been one when he'd arrived at the bar. They might want to target drunk drivers. Or check for something illegal, Heng Gong said. In his mind, there were only two reasons for the police to be putting up checkpoints. This should not concern us then. Shi Dong immediately lost interest in the matter, because no police would dare mess with the heir of the Shi family, one of the 5 most powerful families in Beijing. Heng Gong nodded before slowing down the car, preparing to drive through the checkpoint, when suddenly, he saw a police officer signaling them with a light to pull their car over to be checked. Heng Gong turned the car in for police inspection even though he felt it was mildly annoying. Shi Dong kept quiet, because to him this was just ordinary. When the car was in the parking spot they had been signaled earlier to pull into, Heng Gong lowered the window and spoke. "What's the matter?" The police officer held somebody's picture in his hand, looking past Heng Gong into the car. When he saw that Heng Gong was not the person in the picture, the officer turned to look at Shi Dong. Suddenly, he froze when he saw Shi Dong, who was smoking in the car with a facial expression that showed not a care in the world. The police officer stared at Shi Dong for a while before checking the picture in his hand once more. His face turned solemn all of a sudden as he quickly picked up his radio. "All units, please be informed that we found him. The target is in an Audi. The coordinates are 44568. What?" Heng Gong's expression changed instantly. He understood fully what the police officer meant from the words said on the radio. He used to be a soldier, so of course, at the very least, he was familiar with seeking someone out and informing all other units. "Both of you, please step out of the vehicle." The police officer put his radio away before speaking with a stern voice. "What do you mean?" Heng Gong asked with a serious face. "No questions, please. Get out of the car right now." Seeing that Heng Gong and Shi Dong would not come out, the police abandoned his polite manner, took out his gun, and aimed it at the car. "What is going on?" Shi Dong, who had not been paying attention to what the police were saying earlier, now turned his head to look on with a frown when he saw a gun pointed at him. "What do you think you're doing?" A harsher tone emerged in Shi Dong's voice. He had never been held at gunpoint in his life. It would be impossible to say that he was not livid. "Brother, I don't know what you're playing at, but you better not do something stupid. My young master's anger is not something someone like you can handle." Heng Gong said coolly. Malice flickered in his eyes. The thing he hated the most was someone pointing a gun at him. "Are you threatening our brothers?" A voice sounded. 6 other police officers walked over. They stopped checking all the cars they had been inspecting previously and headed to the Audi as soon as they got the radio message. "Surround them. If they won't get out of the car, so be it. We'll wait for the superintendent to arrive and for his orders on what to do with them." A police officer spoke up. It seemed he was of the highest rank among everyone there. "Yes, Lieutenant Zhang." The 5 officers listened to his order. Each of them got their guns out and pointed them at the car before spreading around in a circle to surround the vehicle. "Why, you?" Heng Gong's voice shook with anger because now not only one person, but multiple people were pointing their weapons his way. Shi Dong's face was just as furious. "Do you want to die?" End of chapter 53. Chapter 54 Shi Dong's Calamity, 2, you are listening at novelfull.audio. "You wanna die?" Shi Dong's face was very dark right now. It was very obvious how enraged he was. "I don't know who your daddy is that you dare to say that sort of thing in front of police officers like us." Lieutenant Zhang, who was standing next to the Audi, laughed out loud as soon as he heard Shidong's words. He pretended to not know these guys, despite knowing fully well who they were. Let me give you some good advice from the goodness of my heart. If you don't want to die, put away your guns right now and let my young master pass through. Hun Gong roared ferociously. He wanted to leap out of the car to kill every single one of the 7 cops right now if he could. Unfortunately, that was not possible, as he might be shot dead. Though he was proficient in combat, dealing with 7 people with guns in their hands was not something he could handle. As Hun Gong said, if you do as I said, I'll let this slide just once. Shidong tried to calm his rage. He was not stupid. If these people got crazy and shot him to death, he would not come back to life no matter what the Shi family did. This was the reason why Shidong agreed with Hun Gong's words and why he said what he said. Of course, Shidong would not do what he said. As soon as he got himself out of this situation, he would kill all the cops that were surrounding his car immediately. It was clear that Shidong was a very brutal man, as simply being angered by someone already made him want to kill that person. Nice speech. Lieutenant Zhang laughed out loud again. So if we don't do as you say, you'll kill us, right? Yes, Hun Gong said without changing his expression. This person in this car is young Master Shidong from the Shi family, one of the most influential clans in Beijing. Just think about it. If you anger young Master Shidong even more, what will happen to you? Young Master Shidong from the Shi family in Beijing. Lieutenant Zhang's face did not change. He smiled at Hun Gong. I knew that from the start. What Lieutenant Zhang said made Hun Gong and Shidong's faces change. The two of them shouted nearly at the same time, what do you mean? What else would that mean? This is an order from the upper echelon. I don't know what young Master Shidong did to anger people up there, but with this order, nothing will ever change, even with the Shi family's help, Lieutenant Zhang said with a smile. You're lying. Shidong and Hun Gong's faces went pale. The two of them could feel their hearts beating faster with panic. They did not know whether Lieutenant Zhang was telling the truth or lying. However, that alone was enough to make the two of them anxious and terrified. Why, you must be lying. Shidong's lips quivered. He blurted this out in disbelief. That's right. There's no way what you said is true. You'll pay for what you've done, for lying like this. Hun Gong quickly backed him up. Truth or lie, you'll just have to wait and see. Superintendent Yang will be here within 10 minutes, Lieutenant Zhang said nonchalantly. If he had not been informed by the upper echelon of Xingzhou City's police station that Shidong was pretty much over, he would not dare treat the guy like this. That would only bring disaster upon himself. Shidong's and Hun Gong's faces went even paler. In their hearts, they thought what Lieutenant Zhang said was not real. Even so, seeing the self-assured face of the other party, they were starting to realize that it might not be a lie. Their hearts were beating restlessly and could only stay still, waiting for the police superintendent of Xingzhou City to arrive. 10 minutes later, a police vehicle arrived behind the Audi which Shidong and Hun Gong were in. The person who got out of the car was a middle-aged man dressed in a complete police uniform with a good-looking face. From his rank insignia, it could be seen that this man was a lieutenant colonel and had now assumed the position of Xingzhou City Station's police superintendent. This man got out of the car with another policeman, who was a police captain. Superintendent. Seeing the police superintendent, the 6 policemen put their guns away and gave him a salute. Lieutenant Zhang also followed suit, acting no different from the others. Police Superintendent Yang nodded to every officer present. His name was Yang Gao and the man accompanying him was called Chao Song. Every police officer in the Xingzhou police station called him Captain Chao. Superintendent Yang, what is the meaning of all this? Shidong hurriedly opened the car door to get out and talk to the superintendent. His tone was filled with dissatisfaction. On the other hand, it was also full of worry. That was because of what Lieutenant Zhang had said earlier. Superintendent Yang looked at Shidong and sighed. His relationship with the young man was not bad actually. Even though Shidong was dealing drugs with Ma Zhang, he had always let this matter slide. However, this time he really could not, even though he wanted to. Because this time, there had been a direct order from General Huang Qian, a very powerful man in the military. Superintendent Yang had not expected that Shidong would mess up big time until he had angered General Huang Qian, leading to this order being passed down. Young Master Shidong, you have committed the crime of dealing drugs and possessing over 100,000 pills, Superintendent Yang said. You have no alibi for this one. We found all the evidence at the hotel you're staying at. What? Shidong's eyes widened with shock. His face went pale. His heart was trembling violently, and so was his body. Ednel.co. End of Chapter 54. Chapter 55 Shikong Hai's Rage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Superintendent Yang did not care how Shidong was feeling. An order was an order. Even though Shidong had the Shi family backing him up, his mind could not be changed. If he had to choose an enemy between the Shi family and General Huang Qian, he would choose to cross the Shi family without a doubt. Because right now, even though the Shi family was one of the 5 most influential families in Beijing, it was still in 5th place. The Shi family was actually the weakest among all the 5 families, which had relatively equal influence. The order from General Huang Qian to give Shidong a life sentence meant that the general was trying to destroy the Shi family. If the Shi family retaliated, it was possible that the 5 most powerful families in Beijing would become history, because there might only be 4 from now on. Superintendent Yang, are you sure you want to declare yourself an enemy of the Shi family? Even though Shidong's face was white, his tone was threatening. He had clearly calmed down from his panic. Becoming the Shi family's enemy. Of course, I wouldn't dare. But I have no choice, Superintendent Yang said with a calm expression. Who gave this order? I want to know who I angered, Shidong asked. He remembered Lieutenant Zhang's remarks quite clearly, which made him quite ridden with worry. Superintendent Yang sighed. He walked over to whisper into Shidong's ear. It was like the whisper of death. Shidong's knees weakened. He collapsed onto the ground in an instant. Impossible. How could this be? Shidong's lips quivered. He shouted with a hoarse voice. All the color drained from his face until it was as pale as a sheet. His body shook uncontrollably. That's just how it is. Superintendent Yang waved his hand at the other policeman. Lock him up at the station first. Yes, sir. 2 policemen took Shidong by his arms to get on board the police car nearby. The young man did not try to fight. It was as if his soul had been sucked out of his body. This is not good. Heng Gong started to realize that the situation was going downhill. He quickly retrieved his gun from a storage space in the Audi. Gotta make a run for it. Heng Gong did not want to end up in jail. He jerked the car door open and leaped out of the vehicle, running off in one direction. At the same time, he pointed the muzzle of his gun at Superintendent Yang, preparing to shoot. Before he could do that, someone blew out his brains. The person who had done that was Captain Chow. He'd noticed from the get-go that Heng Gong wanted to run away, so he handled the situation before Heng Gong had a chance to fire his gun. Well done, Captain Chow. Superintendent Yang patted Captain Chow's shoulder and smiled at him. It's my duty, sir, Chow Song answered calmly, but in his mind, he could not help but feel proud. All right, everyone, carry on with your work. Captain Chow and Lieutenant Zhang, follow me back to the station. Superintendent Yang gave these orders. He then returned to the Xingzhou City Police Station with Captain Chow, Lieutenant Zhang, and the alleged offender, Shidong. Other policemen spread out to do their jobs. Some were taking care of Heng Gong's body. 1 hour later, in a room inside a huge house belonging to the Shi family in Beijing, an old man was sitting on an office chair, sipping tea. His name was Shi Konghai, and he was the current leader of the Shi family. Though he was at the advanced age of 70, Shi Konghai still had not given up his position as the leader of the family to his oldest son, Shi Duan, Shi Dong's father. It was not that Shi Konghai did not want to give up the throne. The problem was that right now, the Shi family's situation was not very good. The family's status was in decline. Previously, it had been as powerful as the other four influential families. Now, they had become weaker. Due to this, Shi Konghai still could not give up his leadership. Dad! We're screwed. Something bad has happened. Shi Konghai was taking a tea break after taking care of some documents when the door was thrown open. A middle-aged man in a suit ran in with a panicked expression. There were many characteristics on his face that looked like Shi Dong. Actually, to be correct, it was Shi Dong who looked like him. This man was none other than Shi Dong's father, Shi Duan. What happened? Shi Konghai frowned. He looked at his eldest son with a slightly dissatisfied expression, as the other party was interrupting his leisure time after work. Shi Duan stopped short in front of Shi Konghai's desk. He was still panting with exhaustion. It was obvious that he had run with all his might to get here. Little Dong was arrested by the police. Shi Duan spoke with a shaky voice. His face was drained of color. Shi Konghai blinked and asked with a tone of annoyance, "It's just this trivial matter. You're fretting over this small stuff, Duan." "Dad, no, this is not a trivial matter. Little Dong was arrested for dealing drugs and possessing over 100,000 pills." "What?" As soon as he heard what Shi Duan had said, Shi Konghai jumped off of the chair. His face changed drastically. "What did you say?" Seeing Shi Konghai's changed expression, Shi Duan's heart shrank. It was beating furiously with fear. Little Duan is dealing drugs. He has been arrested by the police for possessing over 100,000 pills. Bang. Shi Konghai's palm slammed on the desk in front of him. Some documents were scattered in the air. Shi Dong dared to deal drugs. The corners of Shi Konghai's mouth twisted. He clenched his jaw. Green veins bulged out of his forehead. It was not hard to see how furious he was. The term he used to refer to Shi Dong was different, too. Instead of calling Shi Dong Little Dong the way Shi Duan did, the old man was referring to his grandson differently now. End of chapter 55. Chapter 56 passed out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shi Duan was terrified by the angry expression on Shi Konghai's face. The only person he feared was his father. Thus, the young man kept his mouth shut, as he did not dare say anything. Shi Konghai stared at Shi Duan for a while before heaving a sigh. He was trying to manage his anger. At the end of the day, Shi Dong was still his grandson. What did the police say? Have you talked to them? I have. The only thing they promised was that they will cover it up to protect the Shi family. But regarding the release of Little Dong, they said it was impossible. Little Dong will be prosecuted and will be jailed for 100 years. Shi Duan said this with a frustrated voice. Shi Dong furrowed his brow. Do the police not care about us at all? Have you contacted Gu Ming yet? Shi Duan's face showed that he was at a loss. I did. But Uncle Gu said that this is beyond his reach. There's nothing he could do. Does this mean somebody is targeting Shi Dong? Shi Konghai was not stupid. He had been through enough to have some idea of what had happened to Shi Dong after learning that even Gu Ming, who was police lieutenant general, could not help him with the matter. I think so too. Gu Ming did not tell you anything? Shi Konghai asked with a tired voice whilst massaging his temples. Uncle Gu said I should ask Little Dong who he had wronged. Shi Duan said this with a degree of difficulty. He was afraid that his father would just get angrier when he learned that Shi Dong had crossed someone so powerful that even Gu Ming could not handle things. What are you waiting for then? Contact him now. Shi Konghai let out a breath. Yes, father. Shi Duan nodded before pulling out his phone and dialing the Xingzhou city's police station. Before long, somebody picked up and put him through to Shi Dong. Dad. You must help me. I don't want to go to jail. Shi Dong said. His face was as pale as paper because he was beyond simple fear. Tell me, who have you wronged? Shi Duan said with a gloomy expression when he heard his son through the phone. I did not wrong him. I have no idea why he's doing this to me. Who is this, he? Shi Duan frowned before he put the boy on speaker to let Shi Konghai listen in. General Huang Qian. Shi Dong's voice was shaking very hard when he replied. What? Shi Konghai sprang from the chair to his feet as though he had been stabbed by a hot piece of metal. His face showed clear shock. Shi Duan was no different. He was astounded to the point that he almost forgot to breathe. His mouth opened and closed as he tried to catch his breath. What did you just say? Shi Konghai screamed at the top of his lungs. Grandpa. Shi Dong almost passed out when he heard his grandfather. Just like Shi Duan, his father, the person he feared the most was his grandfather. The drug dealing, combined with wronging General Huang Qian, when he had wronged him, he had no idea, must have had his grandpa absolutely fuming. Answer me. Shi Konghai's eyes were completely red. He shouted once more. Speak quickly. Even Shi Duan shouted. He is General Huang Qian. When his fear was confirmed, as if struck by lightning, Shi Konghai's body swayed. He felt so faint, he collapsed into the chair before passing out. Shi Duan was only slightly better. He did not pass out, but his face was paper white. His body shook, his heart pounding because of fear. His lips trembled as he did not know what to say. He hung up the phone before taking in a deep breath to calm himself down. He turned to look at his father bitterly. Seeing the old man passed out, he could already tell that it was from anger. And aside from the anger, there must have been fear, too. This was because General Huang Qian was one of the 10 most powerful generals in the army. Terrible consequences were guaranteed to befall those who crossed any of them. Especially at this moment, when the Shi family was not as powerful as before, they should not be offending him. I will have to call General Huang Qian. At the very least, I need to find out what little Dong did to wrong him. Shi Duan made this decision before he called General Huang Qian. It seemed that Huang Qian was waiting for the call. Within 2 rings, there was a reply. Hello, who is this? General, it's me, Shi Duan. Shi Duan tried to force a smile when he spoke, even though he was not face-to-face with General Huang Qian at present. Oh. It's you. What's the matter? I'm quite busy these days. Huang Qian spoke with an ice-cold voice. Shi Duan shivered. He hesitated for a bit before deciding to ask his question. About little Dong. I mean the matter with Shi Dong. I wanted to know what he did to offend you. General Huang Qian did not reply right away. But not long after, he spoke coolly before hanging up the phone. See for yourself. Once the phone call was ended, an e-mail notification popped up. Shi Duan looked down and saw an e-mail from Huang Qian. He looked at it with a heavy heart. Even though he did not know what General Huang Qian had sent, he could guess it. It must be what his son Shi Dong had done to offend the general. Shi Duan clicked to open the e-mail and saw a video attached to it. He played it right away without any hesitation. 5 minutes later, when he finished the video, Shi Duan's expression was so furious, it was as if he wanted to murder Shi Dong with his own hands. He had not thought that this was what Shi Dong had done to wrong General Huang Qian. For certain, the video that was sent was when Bai Chen had switched to Shi Dong's face and caused trouble with Li Tsong Tian and his wife, Li Yu. And because Li Tsong Tian's living room was packed full of CCTV cameras for safety, it was not a surprise they had this video. They'd sent it to Huang Qian for him to then pass on to Shi Duan. End of chapter 56. Chapter 57. I've beaten you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the morning, Bai Chen woke up early to help his parents set up the Chinese steamed bun shop. Li Lin offered to help as well. His parents were really pleased to see Li Lin, their soon-to-be daughter-in-law, helping enthusiastically. After finishing the preparations for the shop, they sat down to eat, before Bai Chen brought Li Lin up to his bedroom. He sat on the bed with Li Lin by his side. Her face was full of questions since she saw that Bai Chen had been smiling all morning. "What are you smiling at?" she could not help but ask. "Have a guess." Bai Chen did not answer, asking her a question instead. Li Lin lowered her head to think, but even after a short time, she could not figure things out. She then turned to Bai Chen and answered him. "I don't know." "Don't tell me you've already forgotten our bet from last night." Bai Chen said with a smile. Regarding the bet he made with Li Lin, he had definitely won. "Boomf," Li Lin pouted. Her pretty face showed discontent. "So, you were smiling all morning because you think you've already beaten me." It was obvious that she was very sharp. Bai Chen had only just mentioned last night's bet, but she had already connected it to the fact that he had been smiling all morning. "You are beaten," Bai Chen said confidently. Li Lin frowned at him. "Oh, am I?" "Yes." Bai Chen smiled happily. "You must let me kiss you right now." "You shameless." Li Lin's face turned completely red. She stared at him, feeling a little annoyed. "You don't believe me. Why should I care to show me some proof?" Li Lin calmed her anger whilst asking for evidence. "If you don't have any proof, then you'll be my slave for 6 months. You've not forgotten that, right?" Bai Chen smiled brightly. "I definitely have proof, and I did not forget that either." "You have to honor the bet, okay? Where is it then?" Li Lin felt indescribably irritated by his confidence. But in her heart, she also felt relaxed and happy. She thought that spending time with him reduced her worries about the engagement more and more until they dissipated. "Turn on your phone," he said. "Why should I do that?" Li Lin asked. She did not turn it on as he said because she did not want to receive calls from her parents. Li Lin knew they were going to call. If Bai Chen had not asked her to show him Shi Dong's picture, she would not have turned it on at all. "Trust me. You will see who the real winner of this bet is." Bai Chen was smiling, speaking smoothly. Even though he felt partially guilty in his heart that a 30-year-old uncle such as himself had made a silly bet like this with Li Lin again, he also thought that it could not be helped. She was cute, and he had already fallen for her. It was obvious that the result was the same as the first time they'd made a bet. The only difference was that he liked her already. "Sure." Li Lin hesitated for a bit before agreeing to it. She pulled out her phone and turned it on. The moment she turned her phone on, a large number of messages arrived instantly. Li Lin tapped on them and looked at each one. All of them were messages that informed her of missed calls when her phone had been off. There were 2 messages from her parents, another 2 from her friends. 140.3 missed calls. Li Lin's big, round eyes widened when she saw that her father had called her 143 times. "Why would Dad call me so many times? I hope it's not to rush me into getting engaged to Shi Dong," she thought before preparing herself to look at the message from her mother. But before she was able to check, her phone rang with an incoming call. Somebody was calling her. "Dad." Li Lin looked at the name that appeared on the screen. She did not feel like answering. She was scared that her dad was calling to tell her to come home. But in the end, she picked up. Little Lin, where are you? Li Tsong Tian asked with an impatient voice as soon as his daughter picked up. I won't tell you. Li Lin shouted back in answer. Little Lin, I'm sorry. Please come home. I won't have you get engaged to that Shidong bastard anymore. I just learned that he's such scum. Li Tsong Tian spoke quickly again, fearing that his daughter would hang up. Li Yu was probably beside Li Tsong Tian, for she spoke as well. Little Lin, please come home. From now on, we won't force you to marry anyone anymore. And in the future, no matter who you love, we will support you. Yes, yes, I swear. Li Lin was so stunned, she fell silent. She was speechless for a long while, as she'd never expected to hear those words from her parents. She originally thought they were calling her to come back and to force her to get engaged to Shidong. But it seemed like whatever she had been thinking was off target. Are you both serious? Li Lin finally asked. I swear that what I said is true. Me, too, so please hurry home. Both Li Tsong Tian and Li Yu spoke. They both felt extremely guilty that they had almost pushed their own daughter off a cliff by marrying her off to Shidong. I understand. I'll hurry home. Li Lin was beyond excited now and very happy indeed. After hanging up, she even smiled. But she stopped smiling abruptly when she realized that Bai Chen was right. She had lost the bet. I've beaten you, Bai Chen said with a smile whilst looking at Li Lin's enchanting lips. Li Lin's cheeks blushed uncontrollably. She turned to speak, but her voice was as quiet as a mouse. Hey, Dad, are you really going to do it? End of chapter 57. Chapter 58. A passionate kiss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey, Dad, are you really going to do it? Bai Chen could not help but smile. Or will you not keep your word? Fine. Li Lin had to give in because she was the one who had agreed to a bet with him. But she still could not understand how he'd won. She had been certain there would be no way that he could win. Aside from that, she thought that her parents calling to tell her things had turned out this way likely had something to do with Bai Chen. Otherwise, how could he have been so sure he'd won? Bai Chen's heart beat a little faster whilst looking at Li Lin's pretty face. Now, both her cheeks were completely red. She seemed like a cute little girl with a shy personality. Kiss me. I need to hurry home. Li Lin spoke in a shaky voice. It was not certain if she was nervous or just did not know how to act in the current situation. Her little heart was pounding, her breathing slightly quickened. All right. Of course, Bai Chen was all right. Since the day he'd first kissed her, he had been obsessed with her lips and kissing. He quickly moved towards Li Lin, who had already closed her eyes and lifted her face. Bai Chen placed both hands on Li Lin's thin shoulders to find that her body was shaking slightly. Bai Chen smiled. His eyes lingered on her pretty face for a while, his heart was beating faster, as though it was crying out for something. Bai Chen tilted his face to kiss Li Lin. Their lips met. Li Lin's dainty lips were gentle and feather-soft and possessed a particular sweet fragrance as well. Bai Chen felt as if he was flying. He kissed her for a while without letting go. To be honest, he was not very skilled at kissing. He had only kissed another person 2 times, and both those times had been with Li Lin. Even when he was able to kiss her like this, Bai Chen still felt like it was not enough. Suddenly, he opened his mouth a little wider and slid his tongue into Li Lin's mouth. Her mouth was already defenseless, as it was half open. Thus, it was not hard for Bai Chen to slip his tongue in when her guard was down. Li Lin's big, bright eyes opened as wide as they could. Her body shook violently as though she was being electrocuted. Her delicate hands clenched tightly. Her brain went blank for a bit before she pushed Bai Chen off with all her strength. What are you doing? Bai Chen licked his lips before breathing out heavily. Even if it had only been for a short while, having slid his tongue into her mouth, Bai Chen had touched her tiny tongue and tasted her sweetness. Bai Chen's face turned red as well after she pushed him and spoke. "I was just kissing," he replied quietly. Frankly, he was quite scared Li Lin would get mad. What he had done was like taking advantage of her, as he had not asked for her consent beforehand. "Kissing, my foot." Li Lin's face had flushed bright red. Even her neck and ears had turned red too. It was not certain if the color was from shyness or anger. She picked up a pillow and hit Bai Chen with it. Bai Chen did not feel a thing. The pillow was light and soft, so he was not hurt at all. "You opportunist," she scolded him. Bai Chen's expression was uneasy, but he still said, "But you lost." "Don't talk rubbish. I lost to you, but I never agreed to your tongue entering my mouth." Li Lin already seemed like she was very angry. She kept hitting him with the pillow without stopping. Bai Chen gave a sheepish smile. But as things had come this far, it was rather hard for him to stop. He grabbed both of Li Lin's hands and pushed her down onto the bed. At the same time, he took hold of both her arms before kissing her and slipping his tongue back in again. Everything happened very quickly. Li Lin could not even react in time. Li Lin's cute, round eyes opened once more. At the same time, her body stiffened, and she could not do a thing. Li Lin was feeling odd. She found his tongue was on hers. And no matter how much she moved it away, she could not escape Bai Chen's devilish tongue at all. And even though she tried to resist, she was powerless. It was fair to say that she could not oppose him at all. Right now, Bai Chen was feeling very good. The inside of Li Lin's mouth and her tongue gave him an unprecedented experience. Their kiss now turned into an impassioned kiss. Bai Chen continued for 5 more minutes, then stopped. He was breathing heavily. A bit of sweat had appeared on his face. Li Lin was not very different. She was also breathing heavily. Her body felt limp. She opened her mouth and spoke with a tired voice, "Why, you monster. You took advantage of me." I'm sorry." Bai Chen could only apologize. He had been so overwhelmed with emotions earlier that he had not been able to control himself. "Get off of me," Li Lin said whilst pushing Bai Chen off with all of her strength. Her face was still red, but her voice was soft. Bai Chen got off of Li Lin. However, he felt enthusiasm in his heart. He had just learned today that kissing felt so good. No wonder other people liked it so much. After he got off her, Li Lin sat up, appearing out of strength. Her heart was still pounding without stop. Countless odd feelings flashed through her. She turned to look at Bai Chen. The boy's face was full of shame, so she could not help but say, "I'll put you on probation. When I think of something for you to do, I'll let you know." Sure." Bai Chen quickly nodded. That was much better than having Li Lin hate him. "I'll go home now." Li Lin then left the room in order to head to her house. Her face was red with embarrassment up until the last second before she left the room. End of chapter 58. Chapter 59 Drinking Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Li Lin left, Bai Chai let out a sigh of relief. He was so glad she had not gotten mad at him. He had to raise his hand to touch his lips once before smiling. Bai Chen thought that even death could not make him forget this feeling. The feeling of sharing a passionate kiss with Li Lin. It's just 7:30. I can still make it to school, Bai Chen murmured to himself before springing to his feet. It was clear that he wanted to go to school since it was Monday. After school, I need to attend the party with Su In and pretend to be her boyfriend. Bai Chen thought about this before changing and walking down to the first floor to get to school. When he came down, he opened up the life-changing systems window. Last night, he had completed a mission but had not had time to check on it. He had been too tired, so he had chosen to check on it in the morning instead. Life-changing system, user. Bai Chen age. 18 level. 2, 75/100, description. You still need 100 points to level up. Instruction. If you wish to change your life to what you have always wanted, proceed with the following missions. Mission Dashboard, Mission 13. Do what Long Su-in wants, 20 points, Mission 14. Accept Qian Bei's invitation, 5 points, further instruction. The order of mission completion is irrelevant. After you are done with the tasks assigned to you, you will be given a chance to receive special skills or items at random. The skills or items will give you a better life. You have one opportunity to receive special skills or items at random. Bai Chen gleefully scanned the life-changing systems window with his eyes. Now, he had 75 points. He only needed 25 more to go to level 3. Today's missions would give him the exact amount of missing points. He did not feel anything about having to complete Mission 13, as it would be done tonight if he just went to the party and pretended to be Long Su-in's boyfriend. What piqued his interest was Mission 14. Bai Chen's brows furrowed because he was wondering where Qian Bei would invite him to. Why would the mission tell him to accept the invitation? He pondered this for a while, but he could not answer that question. He had to shake his head to stop thinking about it. He thought it was likely not a complicated mission because the reward was just 5 points anyway. Please give me a special item. Bai Chen wished it out loud with a hopeful voice. It was obvious that he was ready to use his opportunity. He used his roulette bonus without any hesitation. A roulette wheel appeared. Bai Chen pressed the button and the roulette wheel started spinning. It was spinning very fast at first, then it slowed down and came to a halt. The tab it stopped at was Special Skills. Ding! Congratulations, you have received a low-grade drinking technique. Bai Chen blinked a few times. He was disappointed to have missed out on the special items. Aside from the dimension ring and magic glasses, he had not received any other special items. But his disappointment did not last too long. Bai Chen looked at the system's window before clicking on the details of the new technique with a small amount of excitement. Since he knew that a technique received from the life-changing system would definitely not be a regular one. Low-grade drinking technique, description. This low-grade drinking technique allows you to drink alcohol, whiskey, wine, and beer, without becoming intoxicated. To the owner of this technique, drinking alcoholic beverages is equivalent to drinking water. The inventor of this technique was an old drunkard. Because he fell asleep while creating it, it remains only a low-grade technique. Grades of special skills. Low, medium, high, supreme. The moment he saw the information on the low-grade drinking technique, Bai Chen had already acquired it. Bai Chen frowned a little. He had not thought he would receive a skill such as this, since he did not drink. Still, Bai Chen figured it would be beneficial for him to have this technique, just in case someone challenged him to a drink-off. Then, he clicked to see the information regarding Mission 14. Mission 14. Accept Qian Bei's invitation. Description. Today, Qian Bei will invite you to a place. You need to accept his invitation. Reward for success. Win 5 points penalty for failure. None. Once he saw all the information about the mission, Bai Chen closed all the windows down. It seemed that Mission 14 was really nothing complicated. Accepting Qian Bei's invitation was very easy. This mission is not too hard. Bai Chen smiled before saying goodbye to his parents. Then, he left the house, heading for his bike. But before he was able to leave, a young boy with glasses gave him a thumbs up. Qian Bei. There was no way he could not recognize this guy. It was the bespectacled nerd Qian Bei. Qian Bei smiled and walked towards him. Big bro, you're so awesome. I had no idea you would dare to have Li Lin, our school's one and only lovely flower, spend the night at your home like this. Don't be silly. What are you here this early for? Bai Chen changed the subject instantly. His heart was pounding. He did not expect Qian Bei to see Li Lin leaving his house. Ha ha ha, no worries, big bro. I won't tell anybody. Qian Bei seemed to know what Bai Chen was thinking, so he said this with a smile. His eyes narrowed slightly when he looked at Bai Chen's face. End of chapter 59. Chapter 60 Ma Zhang's Rage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So, what are you doing at my house this early in the morning? It seemed like Bai Chen did not pay much attention to Qian Bei's words. Qian Bei smiled and said, You're heading off to school, right, big bro? Right. Bai Chen nodded without hesitation. The thing is, big bro, our school is closed today, so I'm here to tell you early in the morning. School's closed. Where did you hear that? I had no idea of this. Bai Chen frowned suspiciously. Qian Bei got out his phone and showed Bai Chen a message. The teacher sent out an announcement via Facebook. Take a look. Bai Chen blinked. Not long after, he nodded with understanding. So, the teacher got into an accident, which is why we don't have to go today. Yes, I know you don't have a phone, so I'm here to let you know, said Qian Bei. Qian Bei really thought of Bai Chen as his boss. Otherwise, he definitely would not have rushed to his house this early in the morning to tell Bai Chen that school was closed today. Thank you for telling me, or I would have been there for nothing. Bai Chen felt really thankful to Qian Bei because he might have traveled to school in vain if this guy had not come here to inform him. It's no big deal, big bro. This is nothing compared to when you saved me, Qian Bei said. He could not help but think of the time when Bai Chen took care of Bogwan's gang. Having thought of that, Qian Bei could not help but feel respect towards Bai Chen for his strength. Bai Chen smiled a little. I can't give you anything even if you compliment me. And I don't need anything. By the way, are you free today? Where are you inviting me? Bai Chen knew that Qian Bei was going to invite him somewhere, based on what he said. He did not know where though, which was why he asked. I'm inviting you to go play video games at my place, Qian Bei said while pushing his glasses up. Wanna come? Bai Chen pondered this by himself a little before nodding. Yeah, sure. We don't have class today anyway. Great, let's go. My car is parked in front of the business district. Qian Bei's happy face was on display before he escorted Bai Chen out. The time passed until noon. Big news broke out in Xingzhou City. Someone had found the body of a mysterious man murdered in a wood next to the entrance of the Xingxing business district. The police officer responsible for this case suspected that it was an assassination, but it was the assassin himself that had lost his life. The homicide left people in the district quite scared. Damn it! Who the hell killed Hu Tong? Inside a room at a luxurious hotel in Xingzhou City, Ma Zhang was enraged. He slammed a remote control against his underling's face until his mouth was full of blood. The unfortunate guy cried with pain, but he did not say anything more because he feared that he would be hit again by Ma Zhang. Ma Zhang had clearly seen the news. What happened enraged him very much. Other than himself, there were 2 of his underlings in the room, so there were 3 people in total. After releasing some of his anger, Ma Zhang took a deep breath. He then slumped onto the sofa. You two, who do you think killed Hu Tong? Ma Zhang asked his underlings in a tolerant manner. If the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st in rank of the White Tiger gang heard of this news, he would have to pay a high price for this, because Hu Tong was no ordinary man. He was the best assassin in the gang. I think it was probably the kung fu guy that you sent Hu to kill, the underling, whose mouth had not been hit by the remote control, said. The kung fu guy. Ma Zhang's eye twitched. How could he have forgotten this? He'd wiped this from his memory completely. The fact that he'd sent his underling to order Hu Tong to kill the kung fu guy had been reported to him by Dong Go. If he had known Hu Tong would be killed, Ma Jiang would have never said yes to Ba Guan's request. The trade-off was just too detrimental. His close relationship with Ba Guan was nothing compared to how much Hu Tong was worth. But Ma Jiang could only think to himself that, I should let bygones be bygones. There is no way I can fix this matter. I have to avenge Hu Tong, otherwise, the upper echelons will give me hell. Having realized this, Ma Jiang did not hesitate or wait around. He quickly gave orders to his 2 underlings. You lot. Go and gather about 10 of our men. No, that's too many. Just gather 8. With you 2, that will be 10. Tell them to get their guns ready. I'm going to take you to avenge Hu Tong today. Yes, boss. Ma Jiang's 2 underlings could not afford to be sluggish. They quickly ran out of the room to gather the other gang members. After the 2 underlings had left the room, Ma Jiang took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. That number was Ba Guan's. He wanted to get Ba Guan here to ask about where Bai Chen, the kung fu guy, lived. Soon after, Ba Guan picked up the phone and said that he would be there as fast as he could. Barely 10 minutes later, Ba Guan arrived. He lived near where the hotel was, so it was not odd that he would arrive at Ma Jiang's room within 10 minutes. It's good that you're here. Now, tell me where he lives right now. When Ba Guan arrived, Ma Jiang did not mince words. He asked his question directly. He's probably home because the school is closed today, Ba Guan thought a little before replying. His face was still bruised in the spot where the gun had hit his face. Ma Jiang nodded. Good then. I'll take you to kill him today. Are you for real, Boss Ma? Ba Guan could not help but feel excited at Ma Jiang's words. Ma Jiang grinned coldly. Of course. I'm going to take you to kill that bastard today. That little shit is over. End of chapter 60.